Hi there. Today we're going to be learning how to do trigonometry in triangles that are not right angled. And in triangles that are not right angled, you have to use either the sine law or the cosine law. So to start with, one thing that you should know is a non-right angled triangle, so that's a triangle without a right angle, is called an oblique triangle. So anytime we talk about an oblique triangle, it just means there's no right angle. With triangles, you label the vertices with capital letters, and the sides that are opposite, you label with the same letter but the lowercase. So that's side A, across from angle B is side B, across from angle C is side C. So that's something else you should know. The sine law is this law right here. Sine A over A equals sine B over B. What this means is that if you take the sine of this angle and divide it by this side, which is opposite, it is equal to taking the sine of this angle and dividing it by the side that's opposite it. What will happen is that you will be given 3 of these 4 pieces of information, and then you will cross multiply to solve for the 4th piece. The sine law works when you are given 2 angles and 1 side, or you are given 2 sides and 1 angle. When you're given 2 angles and 1 side, it doesn't matter where the side is. It could be in between the 2 angles or not in between the 2 angles. But when given 2 sides and 1 angle, it does matter where the angle is, because if it's in between the 2 sides, you cannot use sine law. Now, a lot of people don't understand these AAS, ASA, and SSA so much. So this is what I do. If we are solving, for instance, for side B, if I can circle side B and its opposite angle, and then I can circle another matching pair of angle and opposite side, and if I know 3 of the 4 pieces of information, then I can use the sine law. So let's take a look at this example. We are trying to solve for the value of side B, which is right here. So I'm going to circle B with its opposite angle. And do we have another matching pair of angle and side? We do. It's right here. So I've got 2 sets of opposite sides and angles. I know 3 of the 4 pieces of information, so I can cross multiply to solve for the missing side. So our formula is sine A over A equals sine B over B. The first step is to substitute. So angle A is 58. Side A is the one across from it, which is 6. Angle B is 75. And side B is the one opposite it, and that's what we're solving for. The second step is to cross multiply. So you get sine 58 times B is equal to sine 75 times 6. Third step, can you guess what it is? We want to get B by itself. So that means we have to divide both sides by sine 58. And that will leave us with sine 75 times 6 over sine 58. Now in your calculator you can figure out what that is equal to. So that's step 4, is using your calculator. And if you use your calculator properly, you should get 6.8. So how you type this in your calculator is sine 75 times 6 divided by sine 58. That's if you have a display calculator. If you have a non-display, then it's just the reverse. 75 sine times 6 divided by 58 sine. And what I should say is don't forget to press equals at the end. So that's how you solve for a side using the sine law. So that's nice and easy when you have a triangle and you're using A and B. But what happens if you're using a triangle that doesn't have A and B? Well, here we're solving for side K. So we've got side K opposite angle K. That's our first set. Our second set is we have side J opposite angle J. Now you might think, but angle J is missing. But since we know this is 85 and this is 50, this angle is 180 minus 85 minus 50, which is 45 degrees. So now we have 3 of the 4 pieces of information. And the only thing you have to do to change the equation is that instead of sine A over A equals sine B over B, it's going to be sine K over K equals sine J over J. Doesn't matter what the letters are. It's the sine of an angle over its side. Oops. Sine of an angle over its side equals the sine of the other angle over its side. Substitute sine 85 over K equals sine 45 over 6. Cross multiply. So it's 6 times sine 85 equals K times sine 45. And then to get K by itself, you're going to divide both sides by sine 45. 6 sine 85 divided by sine 45. And if you work that out in your calculator, you get that K is equal to 8.5. So that is using the sine law to solve for a side. Sometimes you have to use that sum of the interior angles of a triangle theorem, that they all add up to 180. Now I'm going to show you how you find an angle. So we're trying to figure out angle A. So circle angle A with side A, and we're going to circle angle B with side B. Write out the formula. Sine A over A equals sine B over B. Substitute sine A over 6 equals sine 75 over 7. Cross multiply. 7 times sine A equals 6 times sine 75. Now, here's where things are a little bit different. You're not going to get A by itself. What you're going to do is get sine A by itself. So you're going to divide both sides by 7. Now to get a by itself, sine inverse both sides. So a is sine inverse 6 times sine 75 over 7. Now, to get that into your calculator, if you have a display calculator, remember to get the sine inverse, you press shift or second function, sine, bracket, 6 times sine 75 divided by 7, close the bracket, equals. For a non-display calculator, you're going to do this part first. So that would be bracket 6 times 75 sine divided by 7, close the bracket, then shift sine. You can see here the advantage to having a display calculator is that you type it in just like you see it. Whichever calculator you have, your answer should be 56 degrees.